Guys, this is the Rlaarlo AK-917, a 1/10 scale speed car that's meant to do 160 kilometers an hour. And many of you have probably seen videos on this, and no one's got 160 kilometers an hour apart from one person that I've seen, and that's with foam tires and the optional mini bat wings.
Started my GPS up and went full throttle. Wow, the Rlaarlo just hit an astonishing 103 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest production RC cars in the world.
So we know it will do it, just not quite out the box. And in this video, you're going to see me do some testing of it. Going to run it on 3S, going to then run it on 4S, and then I'm going to take it for a little bit of a bash. The body has got some slight wear from the tyres, a few little chips out of it, but other than that, it's survived. And when I say it's survived, oh, I left the battery in. Don't leave batteries in your RC cars, although it's not plugged in. So I took the, it's got like a battery holder there. I took that off and put the included straps on because you can get a much bigger battery. Anyway, when I say the body survived, this thing had a slight accident running it on 4S, which we'll see later on in the video. Just see a little bit of damage on the carbon there. And the main one is that wheel. Anyway, so this is the full brushless carbon ready to run. This is their top of the range model that's meant to do that 160 kilometers an hour. They do a roller like this as well, and then you get the metal chassis brushless one, or you can get a metal chassis brushed one, and you can get a metal chassis roller as well. Rlaarlo sent me this one, but I've bought a carbon roller as well to do my own build, and I've also bought a brushed ready to run. My plan is remove the electronics out of it and sell it and get a little bit of money back, then purchase some cheap electronics and see if I can make it one of the cheapest and fastest speed cars out there. Everyone's been going on at me, we want to see you run it, because I didn't run it in the first video. I just unboxed it when I first got it just to have a look at it and show you it, because it was on a really good offer on pre-sale, which it isn't anymore. I will talk about another offer in a minute that isn't quite as cheap, but it's still not bad. The first thing I wanted to do was just run it completely stock. I didn't run it 2S, I went straight for 3S. It does come with a 2S battery, but I wanted to run it 3S. Now what I did before I went out was I done a little aerial mod, because I'd already seen a few people were having signal issues. Some of it turned out to not be the aerial, and others it was the aerial that was tied onto the loom here and stuff. So I've literally just stuck it with some like tack onto the side of the receiver, put a little hole in the body. I tested the range on it, and I think it was 230 meters, and it didn't go out of range. That's as far as I could kind of get it before I ran out of road. So 230 meters with that aerial mod. So if you're stood in the middle of the road, that's a good half a kilometer, which should be enough to get this up to speed. So here's me testing it on 3S. Not the best road, because it has got a few bumps and stuff in it. And what I found with this, the first thing I noticed with this is really hard to get straight until you're probably over about 35, 40 mile an hour. I managed to get a relatively stable 60 mile an hour out of it, which I don't think is too bad straight out of the box on 3S. There's not much out there ready to run that will do 60 mile an hour. And then I brought it back in here and I made a few changes. One of the first things I noticed, and why it was so hard to keep it under control, the rear suspension was really soft, and what happens is, it's easier to show you if I push on one corner. If I push on this corner, watch that wheel, doesn't take much, and that wheel's coming off the ground. Not much effort at all there, and on this side, not much effort to get them wheels off. So the problem is, if you go in completely straight, it's not too bad, but the problem is, if you go slightly off, it instantly lifts the wheel, and then obviously you're going to be losing traction. I don't know whether you can see them in there, but it's a little bit of fuel pipe. I've limited the rear travel, not enough actually. I probably should have limited it a bit more, but I've kind of halved the rear travel. My thoughts are, when it's kind of getting up to speed, it won't go all the way down, so it's not going to lift the front up as much. The other thing I did is I adjusted all the toe and camber. So out the box, it comes with fitted in there, I think, or in there, can't remember. But anyway, I've moved it out slightly. And there's still a little bit of camber on the front, but nowhere near as much as there was. I also adjusted the toe because it was towing right out, so I brought that in. It's still got some slight toe out, but I've adjusted that a bit. And then I also adjusted the rear camber because that was too far in, so I brought that out a little bit. So it's got some slight negative camber, and I think ideally for a speed car you need it almost neutral, but made them adjustments. limited the rear, done obviously that aerial mod, lowered the body as well, because I watched on quite a few videos and the body was sat quite high, so I've lowered the body down. And although droop screws aren't really meant to be used for adjustment of height, I did tweak the droop screws again just to bring that front end down, hoping to stop it from lifting up. And that's all I did. I threw a 4S lipo in it, and well, here you go. More testing, more tweaking, more brown trouser moments. All right, see if my tweaks worked. Nope, still twitchy as, oh my, oh, what? No way that broke then, surely not. We just popped an arm. I was gonna say. Oh, just can't keep it straight. Let's come off again. That was sketchy. This road is not wide enough. That could have been so much worse. 72 mile an hour though, that's not bad. That is a PB, but that could have been far worse. I think we should find somewhere better after this run. Final run, probably final last words as well. Right, come on you little That hit the curb, that's why it took off. Nothing to do with aero. Well, I'm not confident, but I'm not even going to check it. We'll go again. That was looking good until we clipped the curb. Oh shit! I forgot the road ended. That is not going to be pretty. Oh shit. Ooh. Oh no, no, no. Oh, we didn't even get we weren't even going that fast. Wow. What can I say? What can I say? Oh, actually, well, let's go and assess the damage. Look at the wheel marks it made. Circle there, circle there. Holy shit, look what I've done to the wheel. I don't know if you can see it. It's completely twisted it. If I put it neatly like that, it looks as if nothing's happened. Wheel, rear wheel, ESC, receiver. Right, let's assess the damage. First things first, let's make sure this battery is not going to blow up on me. A little bit misshapen. I've had worse. Little squeeze. There we go. Good to go. Right, obvious stuff. ESC's come. I'd already stuck the ESC on once. ESC's come off again. Looks like the receiver's just pulled out of there. Yeah, that's that fixed. On the rear, we've snapped a tie rod. I think that's all though. The exhausts are gone, but not forgotten. I couldn't find them. I did search, couldn't find them anywhere. That side looks all right. No, that side's not all right. What have we done? What have we done there? Oh, we've snapped that off. Chassis, we've caused a bit of damage to the carbon, but nothing crazy. And now, well, yeah, front end. So the front wheel is completely bent. That's probably the best angle. The disc is touching it in there. Completely snapped the steering block. Drive shaft looks straight. Can't say the same for the rear drive shaft. This side all looks fine because it hit that side there. It looks like that popped off, and obviously where that sheared, they came off. Again, I did have a look for the little parts, but they must have gone flying somewhere. That looks all right. Front looks, I'll be honest with you, stick that back on, put a tie rod on. Obviously it's completely trashed the wheels. That must have hit that curb at about 60. We got what, just over 70 mile an hour. Completely forgot until it was too late that the road ends. And that bit of the road's all quite gravelly and slippery anyway, so it's not a total write-off. So luckily Rlaarlo sent an accessory pack, and in here is a couple of steering blocks or hubs, some arms, a rear tie rod, and some other bits and pieces that I don't need. I can put the spare wheel on the front, and this one I will straighten in the vise and that'll go there. I think we're going to be good. And just like that, it's back together. Got a battery in it. Rather than just putting it on the bench and turning it on to make sure it's okay, I have done that. I'm going to take it out for a bit of a bash, just to give it a bit of a shakedown after its little accident. It was a little bit more damage than I first thought. I broke where the shock tower connects to up there. Also bent the disc on the rear wheel. But back together, it's working. Now, I've seen a few people question the quality of the parts or whether it's durable. Now, bearing in mind, we hit the curb at around probably 60 mile an hour. That was a 70 plus speed run. So slide in maybe 60 mile an hour. Enough force to bend that wheel, rip the ESC off and unplug the battery, bend the drive shaft, damage the disc there and snap a load of stuff on there. It was quite some force. That is all I've had to replace. I mean, you tell me. Anyway, that's enough chat. Let's go give this thing a bit of a bash around, because I've not done that yet. So after a pretty horrendous crash, is it still drivable? It looks like it. The tyres definitely need warming up because it's quite tail happy. Well, it's quite tail happy anyway, to be fair. This is the first time I've properly sort of tried it in an open space like this. And it certainly rips. Desperately could do with a gyro, I think, to keep it planted. Although in my defence, I am driving one-handed as normal. Yeah, it just likes to, that back end definitely likes to get loose. Certainly needs that downforce. You can feel it. Once you get up to some speed, you can feel it kind of start to grip. Well, I mean, it took a 60 plus impact onto a curb and it's straight through the water. Still seems to be going relatively well. And it's still going straight. Starting to rain, so I thought I'd better put the lights on. That's the straightest I've been with it, yeah. And that was off a curb. Right, I've got a new technique for getting this thing up to speed. I'm going to trademark it, the Tomley acceleration technique, the TAT. You pulse the throttle. Yes, works every time. Once you get up to speed, you can nail it. Pulse, 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 nail. Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sorry guys, that is now my technique. It's called the TAT. Anyone who copies, I will send you a cease and desist. Wow, there you go. It's like an ABS, but for the throttle. This is all one-handed as well. I'm nervous of them curbs. Right, anyway. That's it for this bashing session. My closing thoughts on this are, the pre-sale price was 100% worth it. $299 for this. It's full of alloy, full of carbon, that big brushless motor. Definitely worth that pre-sale price. That ended on the 30th of April, but what they're doing now is they've reduced it. They've reduced the full price by 20%. 20%, I think it brings it down to about $399. And if you use my discount code, there's a link in the description to this and the other models. If you use my discount code, you get another 10% off. It's not quite pre-sale price. It works out about, I think it's $360. I think it's probably just about worth that. If you did want one, I don't know what the others work out, like the brushed one and the metal chassis ready to run, but 20% off plus 10% using my code. If you still want one, they've certainly got potential, and as we've seen, you can get over 100 mile an hour with them.